Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Three Way Fit. I'm so glad you've decided to join us. Oh, my goodness. And if you're watching this within our app, we're so excited that you've joined our Three Way Fit family. If you're watching it somewhere else, welcome anyway. Go check out our app in the App Store. It'll be there. Right now, it's just in the pre-launch phase. So we just have our pre-launch app members in there now, but it'll be open to the general public hopefully by June 12th of 2020. That's our target date. So if you're watching this before that date, you can look forward to joining us on the App Store then. My name is Melissa Daggett, and let's get into it. So I am an author, a certified life coach, and more important, a lover of great relationship. And so I love to talk about relationships, but at Three Way Fit, we talk about fitness in three areas: your physical body, your finances, and your relationship. And so today I'm actually going to talk in the financial category. And the name of this video, the title of this video is Money is Not Evil. It is a Tool and a Test. Okay, so we're going to talk about money because I think so many misconceptions have been built around money over the years that there are some people from the school that thought that money is evil because maybe they looked at that Bible verse or that cliche going around in religious circles that said money is the root of all evil. And while it can be true, depending on how you pass the test of money or how you handle money, that it can lead to maybe many bad things such as greed or, corruption and things like that. Money can definitely be used for bad purposes. But it's in itself, money is neutral. So when I say it's a tool and a test, I'm going to explain what I mean in this video. And by the end of this video, you'll know that money is neutral, but that it definitely can be a tool and a test in your life. And are you going to pass that test? And how are you going to use it as a tool? And there are laws of money I talk about in other videos. If you really want to build wealth, there's 5 basic laws of money of how you can do that no matter where you come from. So money it's probably the most it is actually the most discussed topic or the most mentioned subject in the Bible, and a lot of people don't know that. So I'm going to base a lot of my information off of the 2 books of wisdom, which are Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. So whether or not you're a believer or a Christian, doesn't matter. These are still books of wisdom, and I'm going to give you some principles and share with them, and you see what you think and you form your own conclusions, because it is not my goal to convince anyone to agree with me. It's simply my goal to share information, to share my research, what I've studied, and to hopefully help you and empower you, because that's our goal at Three Way Fit. So I want to empower you all to be financially free, no matter what that is for you. And I think success can be defined in many different ways, and it's not always how much money you have or make. My main goal, even in teaching people about financial freedom, is that you make just enough to be able to provide for all yours and your family's needs and still have enough left over to give. That you can live comfortably, that you won't struggle, because the truth is, even though a lot of us say, oh, money doesn't matter to us, it can cause a lot of stress if there's a lack of it or if you're struggling every month to make ends meet. So it is important, and I think not enough people are having these conversations, because usually, and this is where I'm going to really get into the meat of the topic now, usually you're in one of 2 extreme camps where you believe all people who have wealth and a lot of money, they're evil, they're greedy, they're corrupted, they only care, they're selfish, they're whatever. And then there's another, and those same people believe that, the poor people are the good people and the rich people are the bad people. And then there's other people that believe the opposite, and they believe that people who are poor are they automatically assume they're lazy and they don't work, and, they think, here I am working hard for all my money, and that person just wants to mooch off of everybody else, and I'm working so hard for everything. So there's different mentalities and judgment going on, and I just want to come to the balance and debunk the myths. Let's talk about the balance and the reality of money and the fact that it's neutral. And how I'm going to talk about this is I want to talk about the 2 extremes, the rich and the poor, and how even within those 2 camps and groups of people can be very different depending on how they use money. So with wealthy, for example, there are many, many wealthy people that are what I call the blessed wealthy. They've been blessed with talents and gifts, and they're using them, and they're working hard, and they're making their money multiply and grow, whether it's in real estate or, investments or just working hard at 3 jobs. There's people that have a gift for making money, and they use it for good. They use it not just to support their family, they support charities, they help poor people, they are hiring a lot of people, providing jobs for a lot of people. These are what I call blessed wealthy. They have a gift with money and for making money. And all of us can actually do that, but some people, if we follow the 5 rules of money, we can all build wealth, by the way. So, but there's some people that have a real gift for it. For example, my aunt, who is she lives in California, she came from nothing, and she didn't even graduate from high school. And she is a self-made millionaire. She has millions and millions of dollars because she had a knack for saving, being very frugal, and investing in real estate. And she started out with just a little. She worked her butt off, worked her ass off. I mean, all the time working, and saving every dime she could, and started investing in little things like she had a knack for knowing when something was a good investment and it was low. Buy low, sell high. And so she invested in Subway before it became this huge thing. She bought several Subways and then they just exploded. She bought some gas stations. She learned how to invest in things that were a low price or a good price, and she knew they were going to multiply and make a profit. So, she's somebody who worked really hard, and she's also, very, very good-hearted, very giving person. And I know there's a lot of people like that. And, then there's what I would call the greedy wealthy or the corrupted wealthy. And this is where I think the law that people hear about that say the love of money is the root of all sorts of evil, where everything's about money for them. And they buy their way, they feel like they are above the law, they can break the law and then buy their way out of it. Or they use money to crush other people, and they only care about themselves. And it's like never satisfied. Enough is never enough. And money is their whole life. It's their God. It's their idol. They don't care about relationships. Everything's about money, money, money. That's when it can become evil, okay? It's not our job to judge other people. I'm just sharing this information so that you can maybe not make blanket judgments about someone who has more money than you. And when you see someone who has money, it's wrong if you make a judgment about them without knowing them or knowing their heart. Only God can know that. So now let's talk about the poor. And there are also, I'm going to talk about some laws and principles too. I'm going to get into more of what Proverbs says. And it does say, if a man will not work, neither let him eat. So if someone is too lazy to work, it basically said they shouldn't eat. So that can be just as big a form as evil as greed, because you don't work and you steal from others or you mooch off of others. And you're too lazy to work, but you want to, take what everybody else has worked hard for. So that's just as evil, right? And then there's poor who are truly needy, meaning they've had hard circumstances in life where they can't work. Maybe they have an illness. Maybe they have a handicap. Maybe they've, been fired from their job at an age where they right now are struggling, or they're just going through a temporary setback and they're struggling. Those are the type of people we should really help, because they're truly going through a crisis. Not every homeless person you see is a drug addict and won't work. There are some people who truly life circumstances have put them in a situation, and maybe it's just temporary, but, we don't need to judge everybody based on a few people. In other words, don't judge poor people, don't judge rich people. It's really none of your business anyway. I'm sorry for just straight talk, but your business is your money. That's your affair that you need to tend to. And so if you haven't watched the 5 laws of money, I have a video for each law. Go watch it, because, really everybody can learn more about this subject. It's not taught enough in school. It's not even taught in college unless you're majoring in finances or economics, but really it's not rocket science. Learn how you can be smarter about your money, how you can make more streams of income and multiply your money and save it and do good with it, and not just provide for your family, but give to others, and be able to say, I have enough at the end of the day that I can sleep at night and not stress about it, but I can also help others. I can pay it forward. That's a really good place to be. And so in the book of Ecclesiastes, it talks about, extremes, and how it was written by the wealthiest king in the Bible, King Solomon, and it's called the Book of Wisdom for a reason. Proverbs and Ecclesiastes are part of the books of wisdom. And he wrote that, it's not good for a man to just work. He said, I'm paraphrasing this, but he says, what good is it if a man works and works and works and toils his whole life and never enjoys it? And these are the people that are workaholics, and they work and work and work just to make money, but they don't ever slow down and enjoy life with their family, or everything's about money, 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 right? The first one I talked about, but there's no balance. There's no balance of, let's enjoy some of it. Basically it says, and never enjoys the fruit of his labor. Like, enjoy it with the people you love. Give it to some friends and watch their faces of excitement, something they could never do for themselves. But learn how to have balance in spending and saving. Don't be a hoarder. Don't be a workaholic that doesn't have value people in life. Don't make everything about your business, right? It also, though, says the other extreme where, a fool who's careless, and it has parables about the fool who wasted his talents, and basically he was given all these talents, but he did nothing with it. He just buried it. He just was lazy and idle, and he didn't do anything with all the talents he was given. He didn't make it multiply. And this is talking about talents were like forms of money back then. And, what good is it if you don't have any purpose and you're just lazy and you don't want to work hard? I mean, you're probably sad and miserable because that's not what you were built and designed to do. Everybody has a purpose and a design they were born with, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something on a huge grand scale, but maybe it's just you're only called to be responsible with what you've been given. That's the other thing these verses say. They say, to whom has been given much, much is required. So if you've just been given a little, and do what you can with that little. That's all you're required to do. If you've been given a lot, do a lot with it. But whatever you've been given, make it multiply, make it grow, and bless others. Become a person of abundance mentality. The two mentalities I talk about in one of my other videos is the law of abundance and the law of scarcity. And the law of abundance basically says there's enough to go around. There's always enough to go around. So law of abundance people live with an open hand to receive, open hand to give. This is the law I most firmly resonate with, and it's not your fault if you're, whatever law you're born with is usually how you were raised and your belief set and perceiving money. And if you were raised in hard circumstances and maybe a family where there was never enough to go around and you were always struggling and you were taught that, then you probably live by the other law, which is the law of scarcity. Neither one of them are right or wrong. There's balance to both of them. Because the law of scarcity, these people tend to be more savers and frugal because they believe there's never enough to go around. So they're always saving for a rainy day. They were usually very responsible, very frugal. They're savers. But the problem is sometimes they have trouble opening their hands, so they can be hoarders. They have trouble opening their hands, so they don't like to give as much. Not always. This isn't always the case, but it can be. So they need to learn how to let loose a little and believe that there is enough to go around, and maybe they just went through hard times, but the good times will come. They need to come to a balance of that and learn to enjoy some of the fruits of their labor. The law of abundance people sometimes can always think there's enough to go around, and they can be irresponsible and they can overspend because they think there's always going to be more. It's not an excuse to be careless. Just to have the law of abundance means there's enough to go around, meaning I can be generous and I can not be a hoarder and not be stingy, but it doesn't mean you live irresponsibly and do stupid stuff. So, use the brain God gave you, but also they could give it all away. You also don't want to be unwise and let people take advantage of you if you're a law of abundance person. You want to give wisely and know who and when to give, and know when somebody's trying to take advantage of you and it would not be used for good. So there's balance in every law, right? There's laws of the universe that are so true, and we need to learn the balance, and we need to get wisdom. We need to get wisdom, and I get mine from the books of wisdom. I challenge you to read a proverb a day and you'll learn some wisdom, or Ecclesiastes if you want to learn more about money from the guy who had it all in that day. So I hope you have enjoyed this because, and by the way, God bless many of those guys in the Bible were rich dudes. Abraham was rich, Solomon, David. God bless these guys, but they were good, blessed rich. I'm sure there were also evil rich back then too. And there were also poor people who had diseases that God told them to help, that I think back then it was like leprosy or whatever. So, there's a balance. Let's all be responsible with our money. Let's learn more about it. Let's be givers. And we're living through some tough times right now, so help whoever you can. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it balanced out your mentality a little if you were on one extreme or the other. And if not, good for you. Keep going. And I hope to see you in another video. Check out our YouTube channel, 3-Way Fit. Check out our app, June 12th. Hopefully it'll be in the app stores by then. That's our target date. And we'll see you guys in another video.